Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sandra Garcon, and it's Monday night at 7 o'clock. It is time for Life Waves. I'm so excited that today we're finally able to stream from Clubhouse, which is awesome. So let's get started. Let me get some things up and some commercial up for you guys. It's 7 p.m. Eastern Time, then it must be time for Life Waves, where therapy meets faith, empowering you to the place where your spirit always knew you were destined for. In here, we make therapy practical. Join us on Facebook at Sandra Garcon or Sandra Garcon Digeville, YouTube at Sandra Garcon Digeville, and now on Clubhouse. So come in, like, subscribe, ping, share. We have much to talk about. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited for everyone coming on tonight. My name is Sandra Garcon Digeville. For those of you guys who don't know me, tonight we are streaming from my regular Facebook, the ministry, Sandra Garcon Digeville Ministries Facebook, YouTube, and also we have added Clubhouse on the list. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about our conversation tonight. Our conversation tonight kicks off a long series going into family and relationships. So I've been doing this Facebook Live for quite a while. And, we've talked about so many different subjects. And so we spent the last, I would say, maybe 8 weeks talking about cognitive distortions. And so you guys know it is so important for us to be able to see clearly. So cognitive distortions essentially are lenses that we see through and that we interpret life through. And our trauma, our pain, and our brokenness, all of those tends to fracture the human soul. And when the human soul is fractured and broken, we develop these unhealthy ways of seeing and functioning and operating in life, and it's not healthy at all. And so that is why I am excited that God has commissioned me to really come on and begin to minister and share every Monday night. I've been a therapist for about how long? For about 11 years. I've been in the field of social work for about 25 years, and I have been working with individuals to really help them walk in who God has called them to walk. And it's my privilege to be able to come and minister and share with people where they are and help them to get to where they need to get to. And so, again, I'm excited about our conversation tonight. I was trying to pull up Facebook so that I can also see those of us who are joining in, because from this, I'm not always able to see who is on. So welcome everyone that's logging on tonight. Again, you hear welcomes. We're here to discuss tonight, to start our subject on family. Tonight, I wanted to talk about original family, the thought or the concept of original family. We know, and so for those of you guys who are new to this broadcast, because we're streaming from 4 different social media panels or places. So what we do here in Life Waves, we integrate faith and psychotherapy. So that people are able to get better or clearer application of both the concepts of psychology and also having faith integrated to make it plain. And so as we start our conversation on the family, wanting to talk about original family, it is so important that we go back to the Bible. We go back to where it all started. And so we're looking at in Genesis where God began to create men. And so God had created the heavens, He created the earth, He created all of the constellations, the stars, the universe, and all these grandiose types of creation. He created angels, and there's different levels and sects of angels, and their purpose in and how they worship God, and the purpose that they're called to make. They were born to make, and so we look at all of these people, and so one of the things that is super important is for us to be able to um, understand from His perspective. God had created all of these things, yet He wanted a human family. And so He created Adam and Eve. He created Adam, and once He created Adam, He gave Adam a job. So it is so important that when, ladies, as we will get into the relationship sector, but when you're dealing with a man, it is important for him to work. Because after God created Adam, the very first thing God gave Adam was a job. Name all the animals. And it is so innate in men to be productive and want to have a purpose in that way. Most of, especially here in America, when you introduce someone, and especially if a man is introducing themselves to another, hey, my name is so and so. I'm a carpenter. I'm a scientist. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm a this. After we introduce ourselves, we our name is. Typically the next thing that comes up, especially for men, is what I do, because that is important. Employment, work, that is so essential to the makeup and the understanding or the insight of a man. And so it is very, very important for us to understand that. And when you get in a relationship with a man, that this sitting down, not doing nothing, and being useless, or not working or attempting to work or trying to work or trying to be productive, that is not something that helps build up the man's self-esteem and sense of self-worth. And if his sense of self-worth and sense of self-esteem or direction in life is not there, it is difficult for him to begin to love us and be the head and the cover that He's called to be for us. And so back to God's creation. So God created Adam. He gave Adam a job. And as Adam is going around naming all the different animals, Adam began to notice, and not just Adam, but the scripture says God saw that it was not good for man to be alone. And so after God had created Adam and created all this incredible things, God was like, wait a minute, something is missing here. I need to get Adam a companion, someone that is likable to him, comparable rather to him. And so God created created Eve. Sorry, I apologize. God created Eve. And in creating Eve, God brought them together and started this family. And it was a beautiful, beautiful union that God created the male and He created the female, and He brought them together so that they can begin the work of creating and developing family. And so as after the fall of Adam, after they sinned against God, you read that Adam knew his wife, meaning had intercourse with his wife, and then she bore a son. And so that started the human family. So family is so essential. Family is the vehicle in which blessings come through in society. When we look at a society and we see that the family is broken or damaged, it hinders growth and development. We don't grow and develop outside of family. Family is essential, family is important. And what's important with family, another reason of God creating the family, not just simply for procreation, that was a huge purpose of creating families, procreation, so that the earth can be filled. And God says, fill the earth and subdue it and have in dominion. Hi, Eddie. How are you? We're starting tonight on our family series. That's going to take us quite a while. So tonight we're dealing on original family and some notable families in the Bible. So welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. Please share. I appreciate that. And we are also streaming from um, Clubhouse as well too. And so I'm excited about that. So definitely, so we look at, so Adam and Eve came together, they had a child, and then so started the human family. And so family is so essential. God didn't just create family just for procreation. That is a huge purpose of family, to fill the earth, because we were called to fill the earth, to do it, and have dominion. And so that is super, super important. Another reason for family is that family allows us the opportunity to begin to understand a different depth or dimension of God. And so all of the relationships, all of the family relationships, the husband and the wife, the mother and the daughter, the son and the daughter, or son and the father, our uncles and grandparents, all of those relationships, sibling relationships, parental relationships, romantic husband and wife relationship. Oh, thank you. So all of those relationships done right was designed to help us understand a different depth of God, because there's no way we are able to fully understand all of who God is. And so God had to find a way to dissect himself. And so he did so within relationships. The relationship with, a husband and a wife, that deep intimacy speaks to the intimacy that we can have with God. Not sexual, but that sexual intimacy is such a powerful and beautiful way of two becoming one, two becoming one flesh. And so God honors marriage, honors that, because that allows the husband and the wife to begin to have a relationship that they cannot have with anyone else. So the husband and the wife relationship, it's so unique and so private and so in depth that it's not, hi Chris, welcome, that it's not possible for you to have that relationship with other people. The connection, the depth of connection and intimacy that a husband will have with his wife, he is not to have that kind of depth and intimacy with anyone else. You can't go in those places with your mama, with your sister, with your cousin, with your, and when we do those things, it becomes perverted and it becomes distorted. And of course, we're talking about incest. When we move into the wrong direction with this, we go incest. But that relationship with the husband and the wife, the uniqueness of that relationship, it's so deep, and it explores a deepness and a pure intimacy that we can also have with God. And when you're looking at the relationship with the father and or the parent and the child, or the father, God says that he's our father. When we have had healthy relationships with our earthly fathers, when God began to say to us, he is our father, we're not like, I don't know. Because, in working with clients over the years, especially those that have had unhealthy relationships with their parents, or with a father or with a mother. Um, it's been challenging when you start to talk about fathers to them, or you talk about mothers to them, because of the unhealthiness of the relationship that they had with their parents. That concept is like, don't talk about that. I don't want to hear nothing. And when God approaches them and says, I'm your father, they're like, yeah, I'm not interested, because the experience they had with their earthly fathers was so unhealthy that the concept of fathering is foreign to them, and in many times very repulsive. I don't want none of this father stuff you're talking about. But when we have had healthy relationships with our fathers, and God says, I'm your father, we connect, we understand what that means. Because, like, yeah, my father was an excellent father. He loved us. He was a hard worker. He took care of us. So when God presents himself as a father, I get it. You know, I get it. While the Bible does not speak of God as in she, I know there's some thoughts that out there that, well, God is the she mother, or that. The Bible does not present that at all. But we do know the role of a mother, the function rather of a mother. God does as well, because he protects us, he takes care of us, he provides for us, and he is there to be an ear to hear us, and to walk with us, and to help us process life. And that's functions of mother, and the caring pieces, and him showing love and kindness, and understanding in that, what mothers typically bring to the table. So fathers are essential, mothers are essential. And so for the parents that are out there, we do have a whole section. We're going to be, so in this focus on the family, we're talking tonight on original family. We're going to look a little bit into some notable biblical families in the Bible, and some lessons we can draw from them. And we're going to talk about some historical families, and lessons from them. We're talking a little about the purpose of family. We're going to talk about broken families, because, once you're talking about families, we're going to come to the place of discussing broken families. In my line of work, I have sat down and had family therapy with people. Um, and you would think, like, oh my God, like, should I come? Do I need a bodyguard in some of these sessions that I've had with people who are family? It's like you need to have a bodyguard, or you need to have the police on speed dial, because they are liable to just go buck wild. And that's families, and broken families, and the different types of broken families. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the violent and destructive types of families. What does that look like? We're going to talk about lessons your family has taught us, lessons family has taught us. And so hopefully you guys are definitely letting people know about this, so that you can share and get involved in this conversation, because our families have taught us so much. That's the original school. And so the way we see and perceive life, a lot of time, always come from our family of origins. Whether it was healthy or unhealthy, it came from them. And so we have to understand that, and understand the importance of that. We're going to talk about also. Did it stop? Hold on. I think the Facebook thing stopped. Let me start over again. Okay, you're back. Okay, so I think. Oh, I'm not understanding what's happening with this Facebook thing here. It just kind of went out on me. No, it shouldn't be speaking. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure. I think something may have went wrong with Facebook or something. I'm not sure. Um, so we're gonna be addressing that, we're going to be addressing understanding, learning, unlearning the wrong patterns. So we're going to work on the unlearning the wrong patterns, some of the patterns and some of the systems and ways of seeing and functioning that we have learned from our families of origins have just not been healthy at all. And we have to come together and understand these patterns and learn these patterns and unlearn these patterns rather. I was trying to pull up the Facebook so I can see it also, to see of comments and if anyone had questions, because I can't see it through the screen, but it's not showing me that. So I apologize. When it comes up, I'll do that. And so then we're going to get into marriage and relationships. We're going to deal with singleness. We're going to deal with dating and dating etiquettes. We're going to be dealing with, what marriage really is about. I think our culture has completely misunderstood marriage, and misunderstood what it's designed for, what its purpose. We get so caught up in the wedding and making sure we have the wedding of a lifetime, that we really did not prepare for the wedding. When I do married couples premarital counseling with clients, there's a list of questions that I go through in trying to understand and trying to help the couple understand what they're getting ready to walk into, the commitment that they're ready to walk in, they're getting ready to walk into, the covenant. Because in marriage and in relationships, we get really caught up in the ooey gooey of relationships. Oh my goodness, he makes me feel so good, or she makes me feel so good. And all those places, we get lost in that. And we miss preparation for the covenant that we are getting ready to walk into. And a covenant is something, it's such a deeper thing than we realize it is. And I think if we understood and were better prepared sometimes for marriage, we would have marriages that are lasting. So we're going to talk within marriages, we're going to deal with unhealthy marriages. What does that look like? We're going to look at violent and destructive marriages. We're going to be creating some, prophetic affirmations. I'm a big on what you say about yourself, about your situation. And so we're going to go over some affirmations and just speak some things over your life, over your family, things that you can continue to repeat. And then we're going to get into some parenting stuff. You're a parent. Some of us, I know for me, it was a shock when I found out that I'm going to be a parent. It was not something that was planned at all. And I'll share that with you guys when we get to that place. And the responsibility that is attached in parenting. And so learning how to raise children from infancy and how to proper discipline. So we're going to look into all of those things. And prophetic declarations over your family, or the affirmations over your children. It is so important, parents, what we're saying to our children, what we're saying about our children, because they are hearing from everywhere. They're hearing from the TV, they're hearing from friends, they're hearing from schools, they're hearing from teachers. I can't tell you the amount of, in working with teens and kids, the amount of teachers that have had horrible things to say to your children. And these people are in authority over your children. Anyone that is in authority over your life or in your life can speak into your life. They can speak into your life, and because they carry authority, what they say can come to pass in your life. And so as parents, it is super important for us to understand that. One of the things that I periodically do with my son, when I pray for him, God, I uproot, first of all, God, I cancel every spoken word, everything that was spoken against him, about him, around him, and surrounding him, in his environment, everyone that has authority to speak into his life, that anything that they have said that was not right, I uproot. Because you can uproot these seeds, because words are seeds and we can uproot them, and I pray, I remove every seeds of ungodliness, every seeds of anger, frustration, but I speak peace in his life. I speak joy. I speak all the things that I want to declare. If he's behaving a certain way that I don't like, sometimes as parents, we cut our children down. We cut them down. That is not what we should be doing. We shouldn't be cutting them down. We should be seeing, oh my goodness, let me speak what I want to see in you, in our relationships. That is a skill for us to use in our relationships. What are we saying to our friends, to our families? What are we saying? We should be speaking. We should be speaking to our friends, to our children, to our mates. There are things that we should be declaring over them that is going to help them heal, that is going to help them become the person that they are. It's not always about you looking and calling out the negative things that you see in their lives, because you know what? We all can fall into that place of, you know what? You're not perfect yourself. And so sometimes we have to okay, well, I can't seem to pull up Facebook through here on the phone. But welcome for those of you guys who are coming on. Welcome, welcome. It's Monday. It's 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Then it must be time for Life Waves, where therapy meets faith, empowering you to the place where your spirit always knew you were destined for. In here, we make therapy practical. Join us on Facebook at Sandra Garcon or Sandra Garcon Digeville, YouTube at Sandra Garcon Digeville, and now on Clubhouse. So come in, like, subscribe, ping, share. We have much to talk about. All right. So welcome for those of you guys who are coming on tonight. We are streaming from 4 different platforms now. We are streaming from my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, Sandra Garcon. We are streaming also from the ministry, Sandra Garcon Digeville Ministry Facebook page. We are streaming from YouTube, Sandra Garcon Digeville, and we are on Clubhouse streaming from there as well. So welcome tonight. We are doing an introduction on our series that we're going to be working on for maybe the next couple months, and that is the family series. It is super important. In this series, we are going to address issues within the family. We're going to address singleness, relationships, marriages, and we're going to address parenting issues. And so in here, what I do is integrate therapy with therapy with faith, to kind of create some practical living skills. I've been doing this since October of last year, coming here every Monday night at 7 on Facebook. And so as we continue our conversation on the family, and the purpose of family is to, first of all, for procreation. God created the family to procreate so that people can be able to fill the earth. That was the mandate that God gave Adam and Eve, that they were to have children, fill the earth, and have dominion over the earth. And so God created the earth and gave us as human beings the earth to be stewards of and to fill the earth. Another purpose for family is that all of the relationships within the family, the husband and the wife, the mother and the child, the father and the child, the sibling, the uncle relationships, the grandparent relationships, the extended family relationships, all of these relationships done healthy They are an expression of the types or the depth of relationship that we can have with God. So God, for us, functions all of those roles. He is, the scripture says that he is our husband. He is our father. And while the Bible does not speak of a she, um, and or the mother, like many faiths and other belief system, that God is a she, God is the mother of the earth. But in function of motherhood, God does provide that for us. While the Bible does not say it, call him a mother, he functions in the role of a mother because of the things that he does for us in caring for us, and providing for us. And so that is a very beautiful thing. And so those are two things that family does. Family gives us identity. It gives us identity. We're living in a world today that's, unfortunately, so many people are struggling so deeply with their identity, not knowing who they are, not knowing where they come from and what that means. And so family is designed to help us understand our lineage. In Bible times, it was so important. The lineage was super important. And everything stems from the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 sons of Abraham. And so these families are super important. And you can trace, in Bible times, you trace people back to the lineage, whether they're of the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Benjamin, the tribe of Naphtali, and whomever. And that was so important. As you read the Bible, you come across all these genealogies and where we come from. And that is essential, because when we know what our starting point is, our starting place is, it is important to help us begin to have some concept of, okay, that's who I am. I'm Haitian. Woo-hoo. Okay. And so I was born in Haiti, but I've been here since I was like 8 years old. So I was born in Haiti and essentially raised here in America. And so because I've been raised, so I have this dual identity. I am Haitian foremost. And then I also have this American heritage part of me as well, because that's where I grew up, from 8 years old till 41 now. And so that's many, many years of being in the country and developing in that country. And so that helps me to understand where I'm from, where my parents are from, what that means. I remember 3 years ago, about 3 years-ish ago, I went to Haiti. So when I left Haiti in 88, I went back only one time. And then about 3-ish years ago, I went to Haiti to visit, with my stepmother, to visit her family and things like that. And so I was so blown away, right? Here's what happened to me. So I was sleeping on the plane. But as we were entering Haiti, I woke up and I began to look out the window and I started to see all of the mountains, and just to look at the breadth and the depth of the land from, that vantage point. And I just started to weep. And I was like, because it was the first time I'm coming back to Haiti as an adult. So about 3 years ago was the first time I went to Haiti as an adult. I left it as a child. I went back again. I was still a child, but now as an adult coming back to the place where I was born, it was so emotional. And it shocked me how emotional I was, but when you're back to your roots, that place where there's a connection, out of all the places in the world, God created me there. Something about there is beautiful, has to be beautiful, has to be unique and special for you, because that is a place where you were created out of. And it is incredible to see, and when I went back there to experience Haiti as an adult, you know, it just was magical, you know, and heartbreaking too. And when I was down there, I just looked at the things, looked at the situations of many people. It was heartbreaking, and and I started to have all these really great ideas of things that I can do to help, things that I, you know, programmings that I would like to develop there. You know, and my husband and I, you know, we have that passion and that desire to give back into Haiti. And so in the coming years, we're going to be doing some programmings and some things down there because that's our heart, to give back, especially to the place you were born. So it's important understanding your heritage and your roots, the way we talk, the way we eat, the types of food we eat. Um, it's like ridiculous. Haitian food, if you guys have never had Haitian food, oh my goodness, bomb.com. Completely bomb.com if you ever had Haitian food. And for people who knows, just experiencing a different type of food in a different place, it's beautiful. It is very, very beautiful and unique thing. And so it's different from what we is here and what is provided in America. So far we're looking at family, and we're looking at the role that family plays for procreation. Family also, the types of relationships that we have with families, within the relationships within our families, allow us to experience a different depth of God. um, Family allows us to understand heritage, where we came from, what does that mean, you know, what is the um, what do you call it, adhered to in that particular family. What is, you know, strict traditions, things of that nature are super important. Let me see if it'll allow me to pull up this Facebook from here. Okay. Faith that is, what do you call it, adhere to. Okay. Hi, Karina. Hi, Karina. Hi, Toto. Welcome. Eddie, welcome. Chris, welcome. There's some of you guys who are streaming from, coming in from, now I can see some of you guys and see some of your comments. Yes, Haitian food is delicious. So anyways, so those are some of the things that family does. Family gives us a place of connection, camaraderie. So that is the first place of you learning the world, understanding, interpreting the world. Because I'm doing well. Welcome, Karina. When we look at our families, we can understand. It helps us to. It's like this mini university. Our families are this mini universities that helps us to begin to understand and interpret the world around us. You know, when we, you know, growing up as a child, if you were able to go to different people's houses, you saw how everybody functioned within their household. And then you go back home and compare, like, oh my goodness, they do this over there. They sit down together and have dinner together. They do this, they do that. They do all these different things. So important, because within our families are these mini universities that teach us about the world around us, that tell us what is good and what is bad. Our families, they protect us, or they designed to protect us, to shield us from the harshness of the world, and to give us begin to give us insight of the world in doses. I have unfortunately had to work with some families that they didn't get the world in doses. All of the brokenness, all of the pain, you know, the kids grew up within that system. And, you know, I have worked with so many families that are so hurt and that are so broken, you know, and they end up doing behaviors that are not healthy, things that they learn from their family. You know, that's a place where, you become the best student as well. So if you grew up in a family that is broken and you begin to act out and do these broken things, because we're good students. We are all good students. We hear and see and perceive and we produce. Hi, Mode. Welcome, welcome. So we see all of these different things our families teach us and we reproduce them. And so if we look at our society, if our society is broken, it is because the family is broken. What the family is teaching, the family that is lacking the resources that they may need to properly teach their children. In a lot of times in our community, our Black community, it's usually the television that is raising our children. You know, the television is raising our children because we're at work. Sometimes we have limited access to resources that maybe families in the Caucasian sectors, they have access to much more resources. They're doing a lot more things and activities with their children and orienting them to the world in a different way. You know, I've seen in the last couple years, a lot of our families have been taking their families, taking a year off or 6 months off, and they are taking their families across the world, taking their children. Hi, Jerome, welcome. Taking their children across the world to teach their children about the world. You know, I ran a nonprofit organization. I started a nonprofit organization, A Beautiful Me, a couple of years ago, and a lot of our kids hadn't even left the city of Brockton, the cities where they're from. I'm here in Massachusetts, Karina. So a lot of our families never even left the place, the city they live in. So you can imagine how small their orientation to the world is. You know, and so it's within families, and that's what extended families can be helpful to, because sometimes maybe the nuclear family, the mother, the father, and the children, it's unhealthy because sometimes you have families that are dealing with drug issues, that are dealing with domestic violence, and we're going to get into some of these families discussing that too. As we, you know, we have like a good 2 months ish of conversation around family, around relationships, marriage, and parenting. So I hope you guys plan on coming back. Please share, because we're going to be talking and dissecting the family, dissecting relationships, parenting, so that we can unlearn, hopefully, a lot of the unhealthy things that we learned that is keeping us bound, keeping us from being able to function and operate the way we should. And so those are another things. So that's another thing for families, that it is this mini university that teaches us things about the world. And so sometimes it is because of resources, a lack of resources within the family, that children or members of the family are underdeveloped. They're underdeveloped emotionally, they're underdeveloped spiritually, they're underdeveloped intellectually. In a lot of Caucasian families, they're big on newspapers, they're reading newspapers, they're reading books, they're reading, good night stories a lot of times to their children. And sometimes in our communities, we don't have the time to do that. We got to go to work, and we get back from work, we exhausted, go to sleep. I ain't got time to read you no bedtime story or sing you lullabies or any of those things. We don't have the time. And sometimes it's not that we don't have the time, we don't have the concept or the value in that, you know. And so because we don't understand the value and the worth in that, we don't give it to our children. Sometimes it's a language barrier, because of what we don't have as, well, I can't read this. You go to bed, or sitting down together as a family to have dinner. Those etiquettes. Or I remember my dad used to sit us down, and my dad taught me how to eat with forks and knives, and how when you sit in like if you invited to a dinner or something to that effect, how you sit down on the table, how do you use your fork, how do you use your knife, how do you use your all those etiquette pieces actually came from my father. He taught me those things, and so we have to do better about really teaching our children and preparing our children for the world. And that is what family does as well. It is a preparation place, it is a launching place. When the family is healthy emotionally, being healthy emotionally doesn't mean you don't go through troubles, you don't go through difficulties. We do, but it's a discipline in which that you have developed. We don't teach our kids discipline. Whatever they want it now. Give it to me now, now, now. We live in this now society that everything has to be now, 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 now. And sometimes, my son will ask me for something, and I was like, okay, you can wait. I could just get up and go do it. But I'm not going to put that in his mindset that every time you ask for something that I'm jumping, because there are moments where I can't. And when I see him catching an attitude and being frustrated because he's waiting a little bit longer, I got to remind him, sometimes you're going to have to learn to wait. There's nothing wrong with waiting. You ask me for something, I'm going to give it to you, but I need you to wait because I got to teach you how to wait. I have to teach you how to wait. And there are times I have to tell you no, even though I may have it. And those are things that we have to, those are some things that families are designed to help. In the rearing of children, in the rearing of one another, we have to learn how to help our children learn to wait. How we need to learn how to, we need to teach them discipline. You can't have everything you want. Whether I have money or don't have money is not the issue. The issue is life is not about everything you want. Sometimes we got to teach our children how to suffer a little bit. And when I mean suffer, I'm not saying being abusive to them or nothing like that. But I'm saying, no, sometimes you just have to deal with a no and be okay with the no. Sometimes they're like, and he's upset because he got a no and he didn't want the no. He really wanted a yes. And I got to process him. Okay, now let's take some deep breaths. You didn't like when me telling you no, right? No, I don't want, I want this and I want that. Yeah, but you cannot. I'm not going to give it to you because I need you to understand that not everything you want, you get. You're not entitled. Hi, Ron, welcome. You're not entitled to everything. And as your parent, I got to teach you the importance of not always receiving everything you want, valuing things. So I bought you this toy, you threw it away. Okay, so you don't get another toy. Sometimes when I go to the store with my son, before we even get out, before we leave the house, and I already explained to him how this is going to work. You're not, don't try. Sometimes how I see kids of different persuasions act with their parents in the supermarket, and I'd be like, you know what? I just want to take a belt and just whoop this little child of their disrespectfulness. I remember it was so funny. Noah had to be what? I don't know, a year, almost a year or something like that. And I was going to Walmart with him, and He wanted to, I don't know, he wanted something. And I was like, no. And he just began to start crying and screaming and acting a fool. And I pulled the cart to the side. I was like, kid, you don't know me. You better not. Don't raise your voice out here. This is not the place. And I was just going in and going in. And people were walking by, just like stopping, like looking at me, talking to, going in at this 1 year old, letting this kid know how what this is not going to happen here. You're not going to embarrass me in no supermarket. Kid, you will be in deep trouble. Don't play with me. I'm not the one. And people thought there was this like line of people that just pulled over like I was doing some kind of demonstration. And they were just cracking up. Couldn't believe I was having this stern come to Jesus conversation with this 1 year old. And I tell you what, after I finished talking to Noah, he was done crying. We weren't doing that. And when we're going to a store, I already let him know, don't even think about purchase. We're not even going near the toy. Don't ask for that. But Mom, don't ask for it. Some days, yes, but some days, no. Some days I don't have the time because I got to go in and go out. Maybe some days I have the time that we can go in and look at the store and look at things, but it's not always. So family teaches us the etiquettes of life. It teaches us disciplines. So again, the family is designed to be this mini university where it's training us on different protocols of life and preparing us for life. And that is and that's healthy families that does that. So many of us are dealing with unhealthy families, and some of us are just not just only unhealthy families that are emotionally unhealthy. You're sometimes dealing with families that are ignorant of these things. They cannot teach their children because they don't know. I cannot tell you how many, as a social worker, when I was working with clients and going into their home and teaching them how to manage their household, working with grown men, grown women, teaching them how to manage their house, how to go grocery shopping. I had to take some clients to the groceries. And you see they're pulling up all of these canned goods, frozen this, frozen that, canned this, stuff that has all these preservatives, all these unhealthy things in there. And that's what they're feeding their children. Bunch of ramen noodles and all the stuff that was easy, that was quick. And like, are you buying meat? Are you going to get some rice? Are you getting vegetables? How do you even, and a lot of them did not even know, how do you prepare those things? Had to teach some women, some mothers, how to cook healthy meals for your children, how to organize your own house. So a lot of that work, that I was doing with families, because in their families of origins, that part of the education they didn't get, unfortunately. And consequently, they can't pass on to their children what they did not learn. We cannot give our children what we don't know, what we don't have. And so, see how essential family really is. It gives us identity. It is our training ground. It is designed to be the training ground where we learn about life, where we are prepared for life. It is this place, the relationships within the families, done at its best, not only builds us up, it allows us to begin to experience God in those types of dimension and those types of what's the word? I just lost it. So Our healthy relationships within our family members done well allows us to experience God within that dimension. And when God presents himself to us as a father, because we have had healthy relationships with our fathers, we're not like, I don't know about all this fathering stuff. And so even when those things are done wrong and we didn't properly learn them, God still says, come, let me teach you. And he has people like myself. You have therapists and social workers, psychiatrists. You have all of these people in the psychiatry field, in the social work field. And these people are designed to kind of help fill in the gaps that our families fail to do because either of it was unhealthy or destructive or violent or brokenness, and they were not able to teach you these things. And so, because families are essential, if we don't learn family to do family well and to do it healthily, we pass it down from generation to generation to generation to generation. We continually releasing brokenness down our generational lines. And our children are picking up behaviors and attitudes that our grandfather had, that our great grandfather, that our great aunt, and so because nobody is changing those behaviors. And so that's kind of a recap, or not a recap, rather, an intro into our series that we're going to be going over the next couple months, dealing with family. We're going to deal with marriages. We're going to deal with unhealthy stuff in the family and how we can heal from the unhealthy things in the family. So definitely let people know I'm here. We're here on Monday night. We stream from my Facebook page, Sandra Garcon, the ministry, Sandra Garcon Digeville Ministry. That Facebook page, we stream from YouTube. So all of the recordings or the lives that we do, they are on my Facebook page. You can get them on the Facebook page. Sometimes with Facebook, there's a bunch of other stuff. So you may be looking sometimes for days for a particular video, but you can go to the YouTube. The YouTube will have all of them that are recorded, and on the website, you'll have them. On the website, you'll find different things like quotes and things. You know, I put up all these different quotes because I love to collect quotes and what they mean for us, and how they can be a blessing and benefit us and give us a different perspective of things. Also on my website, you will see, hi, I'm Bishop. How you doing? Hi, Wilfred. Welcome, welcome. So you will see all of these things on the website, and you will see the Coaching Life with Sandra. So while I'm in school this year full-time, this year and next year full-time, I have moved away a little bit from doing the counseling, but I'm doing a little bit more coaching because that's emotionally less heavier. And so let me just let you see the commercial for the coaching. Welcome to Coaching Life with Sandra. I am Sandra Garcon Digeville. You know, for the last 25 years, I have been a social worker, a licensed therapist, a multi-business owner, ministry, and community leader. Well, I bring all of these experiences into this unique and exclusive coaching program called Coaching Life with Sandra. Coaching Life with Sandra offers 3 unique tracks for the individual, the business leader, and the ministry leader to help you scale in your industries and create a healthy life balance. Call me today, Coaching Life with Sandra, 508-580-3800, or visit us online at www.sandragarcondigeville.com. The full emergence of an individual is not accidental, nor does it happen without strategic guidance. They say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Well, in this case, Coach Sandra is here. Let's get started. So yes, in the Coaching Life with Sandra, I provide individual coaching, business coaching, and ministerial coaching. So for those of you guys who need these services, and there is a brand new service within there that is called Healing Conversations. Healing Conversations is essentially having a conversation with a knowledgeable professional that addresses some of the issues that you may bring to counseling, but you are not being diagnosed with a mental health disorder, but you're really just having a great conversation and getting some insight on some of the behaviors or the attitudes or things that you're struggling and dealing with, and getting some solutions to be able to manage that without being diagnosed. It's not clinical at all, but it really essentially is having a conversation with someone who has the experience, who has the knowledge to help you walk through that space. And it's called Healing Conversations. And I will get you guys more information on the healing conversations that you can have with me. And they're conversations that really heals the soul. And so do you guys have any questions, any thoughts, any comments tonight as we kick off this family series? Next week, we're going to get more into some notable biblical families and lessons we can learn from them. And hopefully we can also get into some historical families, notable historical families, both then and now, and lessons that we can learn from some of these families, because we learn from families. And so there are families who have done family well. There are families who have done family not so well. And all of those are lessons we can learn to make our own selves and our own families better. Any comments, any questions, any thoughts, guys? So if you guys please join us. If you are on Clubhouse, we are streaming on Clubhouse as well. So definitely check us out and let your friends know that I'm on Clubhouse and that they can join me there. In addition to doing the Facebook Live, the Life Waves that we do every Monday, I'm looking to do another one through Clubhouse exclusively coming up soon. All right. If there's no questions, thank you so much. Thank you for all the encouragements, the hearts, the applause. I appreciate that. Thank you, Eddie, very much. Sometimes it is challenging to get up here. And okay, go ahead. Ask your question, Eddie. But while he's asking his question, but sometimes it is challenging to get up here and share. Some people may agree with what you share and some people may not, but nonetheless, to have the courage to come up and share. And so when you guys are giving me your comments, your claps, your encouragement, sincerely, I appreciate that, because that helps keep me going. I'm going to be here anyways, because that's the assignment God gave me to do in this season of my life. So whether people are clapping or not clapping, or showing up or not showing up, I will be here. However, your clapping and your encouragement really is a blessing. So thank you. Can an unhealthy family become a healthy family? Absolutely. So we do have a whole section on unhealthy families and broken families, and how we can unlearn those unhealthy things that we learn from families. And so hopefully in that part, there will be a lot of you guys on, so that you guys can share some of the experiences, maybe in your own families that were unhealthy, or in families around you that you saw that was unhealthy. And we can talk about that and discuss what we can do to make that healthier. And how do you unlearn some of these unhealthy behaviors? And it's essential for you to unlearn these unhealthy behaviors. You know, one of the things I'll say too, sometimes people look at some of the things that their parents did, and they're like, I'm never going to be that. I'm never going to do that. And then they just are so angry for what their parents did or failed to do. And they're like, when I have my kid, I'm never going to this and I'm never going to do that. Well, here's the honest truth. You will always repeat what you do not intentionally change. So you can hate that your parents did it, but if all you did was hate and not actively change and turn around and do something different, you will repeat it. It is impossible for you not to repeat it. Because we learn, what's the phrase? We are, shucks, what's the phrase? I can't think of it. But anyways, we produce the things that we have been taught. And so whatever you have seen or experienced in your life, in your family, don't just hate that they did it. Actively turn the behavior, change the behavior. Because if you don't, you repeat it. You always repeat what you did not actively change. Intentionally or purposely change. If you do not purposely and intentionally change the behavior, you'll repeat it. And a lot of times too, and when we get to the family, more discussing more family issues, a lot of times we have to recognize and come to terms with, our parents gave us what they got, gave us what they had. And we can look at them and think like they should have given us this, that, and the other one. And we're assuming they had the capacity to give it to us. Because when we say you are my father, when you are my mother, you're my this, you're my that, we have a whole list of what we think that means, and what that person, what we're entitled to get from that person because they are our mother, because they are our father. And so sometimes they simply don't have the capacity to give you those things. And you don't get them. And then we get embittered and hateful that of what they failed to give us, not recognizing that sometimes they simply did not have the capacity to give it to you. I cannot give you what I don't have, no matter how much I want to. A lot of times our parents simply did not have the understanding we have and the education we have. A lot of you guys have, your parents were not operating on that kind of level of education. They were not operating that level of insight. In a click of on your phone, on your tablets, on your stuff, you can be sitting here and talking with people in Africa, talking to people in Europe. You could be doing all kinds of stuff. You could have gone through YouTube and through searching Google and have learned so much in like an hour, in just like this. Our parents didn't have those capacities. And some of them don't even have the technological astuteness to even know how to do any of these things. And so in terms of a lot of things that we felt we should have gotten, they just was trying to survive. They were just trying to put food on the table. That's the best they could have given you. Food on the table, clothes on your back. Not the name brand, but just what they could. And sometimes we have resented our families, resented our parents for giving us the bare minimum, not recognizing the bare minimum was almost beyond what they could have even done themselves. And so we're definitely going to talk about a lot of those things, and just really get healed and get delivered from all of these things, And so I can't wait to keep our conversation going. Please invite a friend next time. Thank you for your comments, your shares, your likes. Thank you for cheering me on. Thank you for receiving the information, and thank you for your time, because time is very valuable. Once the time that you've given me, you cannot get it back. And that's why I try to give you something that is life-changing, so that you don't feel cheated out of your time because you cannot get it back. All right. God bless you guys. Have a fantastic week. Love you guys. Be good. Enjoy. And remember our conversation on family. Bring your questions. You can actually email me your questions. So if you had a question, you want to email me, messenger me, or I'm on Instagram too at Sandra Garcon Dejerville. You can send those to me, email me, go to the website, go on Facebook, just so that I can have your questions, so that you don't forget them. And I can answer those questions for you too. Okay. God bless you guys.